Welcome to the Become the Best You podcast, where we discuss everything personal development and listen to real life relatable stories from individuals that are on a mission to become their best self. Lee, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thank you.
Shoot straight in, brother. It's great to see you.
Yeah, first time.
Popping
my cherry.
First time face to face.
Yeah.
In person. Now, mate, I'd love to, like what I do with a lot of my guests, right? I always take things back to, like early in their journey or early where they was. Like, you live in Dubai now. Where did you essentially grow up? What was life like for you, before you come to the luxurious Dubai?
I grew up in the west coast of Scotland, in a town called Kilmarnock, so it's just 25 minutes southwest of Glasgow. Kind of a bit of a scatty upbringing. Mum was really young when she had me, kind of 17, 18. My dad was young as well. Long story short, he kind of left when I was like 1, 2, so I was kind of primarily with her. And then she met my little brother's dad. They separated after getting married. So it was pretty much like me, my mum, my brother. And then there was just a lot of issues. Like my mum had substance abuse with like alcohol, just like really, she would go in binges and stuff. So it was pretty tough. It wasn't straightforward, but I kind of grew up and dealt with that. And thankfully, when I was growing up, I had the shining light of my gran. And God bless her. Like she's like literally, I always say she's like the one person who I've had unconditional love for my whole life until my son, obviously. And she was like that kind of little shining light of hope for me my whole life. That she showed me nice things. She believed in me. She was always encouraging me to do stuff and push myself and talk about like different careers, and make sure I stuck in at school. And yeah, it was growing up was I was kind of moving about a lot, and the relationship with my mother was pretty fractious, and it got to the point where like my wee brother left and it was just me and her, and it was tough, man. Like it was, I was coming home from school and she was like bevying, and I'd be like praying to God walking through the door like I just wanted to come home to like a sober household, because I knew that day if I walked through that door, I knew what the rest of my night was going to be. It was like having to barricade my bedroom door and like try and get sleep because she would sit and just talk shite, and it's painful, man. But like as we've touched on, like that whole kind of process of growing up kind of made me want more. I was like, fuck this life. I don't want this life. Like, and that little shining light from my gran was like, you should believe in yourself. Like you can do better. And a lot of them, when I was younger, I just wanted to make my gran proud, man. I remember I had this image of like, because she always asked me how I was and stuff, and I just wanted to, pull up outside her house one day in a BMW, and she just knew that our hard work, do you know what I mean? That, like,
the belief in you.
Yeah, that my, and because I was like her blue-eyed boy, man. So it was like, so yeah, and I managed to do that one day, but yeah, she was amazing. But I left home when I was 15, joined the Navy, and because I pretty much kind of,
Is that the only thing to do? And thanks for sharing everything that you just shared, by the way. But to even taking it back there, see like what I was going to say, because I know that you said, there's not much going on where I grew up, or and that's why I'm like taking it back there, because you now live in Dubai, and it's a far cry from like where you was, right?
It's like a different life, man. For me, life when I was younger was about survival. Yeah. Keeping a roof over my head, having money to eat, like the basic shit. Like that was my main focus when I was like young. I need a house, I need food, I need to survive. So I joined the Navy because obviously they provide all that for you. But I left when I was 18 on my 18th birthday, because I was like, fuck this. Like, I've always been very strong-minded. Like, I don't like being told what to do. Like, not in an arsehole way. Like, I can, if somebody's got, do you know what I mean? Like, and I don't mean to like sound like a dick, but it's like, if somebody's going to ask me to do something, it's ask me nicely, fair enough. But see when somebody's
telling you what to do
on a Saturday on your day off, and you're like, I mean, come on, man. Like, so I just said enough's enough, and I was kind of stubborn. I was like, look, I'm going to go back. I'll figure it out. I managed to stay with like a family friend. I went back to college. I worked part time. I was always grafting. I kind of started in sales, so started in the like mobile phone sales. So I was literally doing like 16 hours a week, Monday to Thursday. I would do college all day, get the bus home, run back to the bus stop with my, you know, my trousers and my shirt on, run to work, be there for 6 o'clock. No, was it 6 o'clock? 5 o'clock or 5:30, and I'd work till like 9, 9:30 every night, and then get the bus home. So it was long days, but I ended up becoming quite good at it. And then they asked me, I was meant to go to university, and they then asked me to, you know, move up to Glasgow and do B2B instead of business to consumer. It was B2B sales. So I was like, fuck it, I'll take a year out. And then I ended up never going to uni. I stayed with him for like another 2-3 years after that, and I was just like, what am I doing, man? Like, I was just like this little bitch for the company owner, and he was just like taking me off one project onto another, and I'm like looking at my paycheck every month, and it's kind of manipulated me almost, because he was like, oh, you'll get the BMW, and you were sitting there like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I was just like, and I'm just a young naive boy, like, you know.
So even coming that far from leaving where you was to go to the Navy to come back to get even to this position, was that quite like an achievement, or you still not feel like you've come far?
I mean, at that point in my life, like when I finally moved up to Glasgow, I was like with a girlfriend at the time who was actually a really lovely girl, and we like bought our own flat, and she, you know, our parents were lovely, kind of helped us out in that, and yeah, I mean, I was actually on paper doing all right, but I never felt like a rock star. You know, I never felt like I'm really smashing it here, you know. And it was meeting her and her father. Her dad was like really, you know, he was a professor at uni and stuff, and lovely, really down to earth people, but I always felt like, right, you need to do a bit better here, mate. So that was the kind of spurred me on. I started training, going to the gym, getting better shape. It gave me the confidence to change career, and I always thought, how can I transfer sales into like a career that's more, you know, there's more structure, you know, a proper route to like earn more, and that was recruitment. And then I was like, at that point in time I was 23, and I just applied for loads of trainee jobs. And I remember back in the day, I was like, we were staying in my own flat at the time, and I think I was on like 23k a year, and then I took a jump back to like 17k, you know. And as a 23-year-old and 17 grand a year, you're like, I mean, if I look at it now, I'm like, how the fuck did I survive, man? You know what I mean? It was because I had like no support. I was, you know, paying my bills. I was traveling up and down to Glasgow every day, and at that point, and yeah, but you make it work. There's always a way, you know. And I started as a trainee, worked with that company for 5, 6, 7 years, and then met my business partner there. We then decided enough's enough. We launched our own recruitment agency 5.5 years ago, a month before COVID hit and lockdown hit, and you're like, fuck. So it was a really crazy time. And yeah, and as I've touched on to you, actually, like during kind of some of our chats, that at that point, you know, I was going through a divorce at the time as well, so I was quite, you know, I was having to deal with a lot of shit again, and I was like, fuck. But I found my happiest point at that point that I've spoke to you about, because I stopped drinking. I focused on, I was structuring my day every day, like, and you know, I was getting outside, I was training, I was running a lot, and I was, you know, it lasted like 2 months before I was like bevying again. And then, you know, and then I spent the next 3 years, you know, being a single guy, drinking, you know, doing what single guys do, before I met my current partner. And yeah, but kept the business going. And
a few things there. See that hole you pushed. Like, was you always in the back of your mind doing this for your nan? Like, was you thinking about that? Did you have a why that was pushing you to consistently elevate and want to do more, and, you know, seek the next step and go to the next place? Like, was it that belief, just that belief, that pushed you on to go and do that?
I've always had, like, I've always wanted more.
Yeah.
You know, and as we've spoke about, like, at times in my life I've been disciplined. Like, I've done kind of like bodybuilding shows where I had to diet, like, perfect every macro for 16 weeks, never cheated once, every minute of cardio, every training session. You know, that was probably the most disciplined I've ever been in my life. And I was, looking back, I was very happy. I just didn't realise it at the time. You know, so I've had moments in my life where I've been like really disciplined, but I've always lacked that consistency. And then I would go through periods of life where I was just winging it and not knowing where I'm going or what I'm doing. And then and I've just always been motivated by different things, whether it was to prove people wrong. People would say you can't do shit, prove them wrong. you know, I think when you're younger, you're fueled by certain things, where it's family, you know, proving people wrong, my gran, you know, stuff like that. But then you kind of, for me, I feel like you kind of fuel that forever. It needs to.
I think at the beginning, that's usually fueled from like pain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Pain, and I mean not all of it, but mine was just sick and tired of being who I was. Like, I'm just in so much pain. I want to change, but then and I want to prove people wrong. And anyone said that doubted me and doing all this, and as you progress, that kind of just keeps going down a little bit. You're not too worried about them people because you felt like you've already proved them wrong. You're not in as much pain as that you was in. So that kind of goes, and I still draw from it at moments, but it does transition further down the line into more of what I call pleasure, where it's like I seek satisfaction from doing things. That's why I like to do them now. Yeah,
and that's like where I kind of got to last year. I had been in a situation where I had been doing the same shit my whole life, and it had got me, obviously, on paper, like, this guy's came from where he's came from, and he's doing really well on paper, but I always felt like, you know, I could be doing better, and you know, becoming a new father, and, you know, the additional responsibility, moving to a new country, opening a new office in Dubai, like, everything last year kind of, you know, I was boozing all the time to, like, just where I was bored, where I was stressed, any excuse to kind of crack open a beer. Oh, fuck, it's warm. Oh, mate, you live in Dubai, you know what I mean? It's like be boozing every day.
Beer, happy beer. It's hot beer.
You know, and before I knew it, I ballooned up to like 94 kg. You know, I was like 10 kg heavier. I was so overwhelmed. I couldn't focus. I just hit like a total brick wall, man, and I knew something needed to change last year, and you know, we've spoken about it before as well, and I know a couple other boys in the B community have got, like, you know, been diagnosed with ADHD and stuff, and how they've dealt with it, and it's impacted them, and, you know, that happened to me last year, about September time, and it kind of was like another kind of light bulb moment as well, because it made me realise why I have certain behavioural traits, why I do things sometimes, why I can be quite impulsive, why I can't concentrate and focus, why I lack discipline and consistency, and just that little understanding kind of made me, like, just be a bit kinder to myself.
It helps.
Yeah, and understand everything, and it's like, if you understand why, then you can, like, start, if this is happening because of this reason, like, it's not just something that's happening. You can actually do something about it.
You don't blame yourself as much.
No,
you know
no,
what I mean?
no,
Like,
no.
you don't look at yourself and just say, you're unorganized, you're unstructured, you're this, you're this. It's like, and I don't think you made excuses to say, I'm like that, and I'm like that because of that, and I'm not going to do anything about it.
No.
I think it's just a case of, I'm like that because of that, but I can manage it better, and I'm not blaming myself. Because I'm the same. I didn't get diagnosed fully with OCD, but they said, you basically have it. And I've done some things to go through, and knowing that, because I always knew that I was just my thought process is crazy. The thoughts that come into my mind, and I used to blame myself. Like, if I'm going somewhere and I'd get a mental thought come in that's quite dark, I'll be like, you're fucking crazy, man. You're fucking crazy. But then when I started talking to the woman, she's like, no, that's normal. That's normal. That's normal. So instead of judging myself for these thoughts that come in, I can just better manage them instead of blaming me. Instead of blaming me, and that helps you understand for yourself, right, that you've got it, but you can manage it better.
Yeah, no, definitely, like, and it was a big light bulb moment, just understanding myself more, and just everything, and, like, being a dad, and like, I've wanted to be a dad my whole life, like, because I never had my dad there, like, that being a dad was, like, huge for me, because I wanted to be everything to my son that I didn't have growing up, and everything that I craved growing up, like that, you know, that male role model, like, that's everything I want to be to my son. And I just said, enough's enough. And then it was like by chance, and it wasn't even through LinkedIn or anything, it was just, I think I came across you on Instagram, and then I followed you, or I can't even remember, and then, like, you dropped me a DM, and then we started chatting, and I was like, this is weird. And then it was like, I just kept seeing you everywhere. I was like, and then, like, I think, like, a week or two after I started working you popped up in Hisham's podcast, and I was like, it was weird. Sometimes things in life just happen, and I'm a big believer in fate. And obviously, one of the big things in in your program and working together is energy, and it's and we'll touch on that obviously later. But that I'm a big believer in fate and energy, and and karma, and the way you project yourself into the world and the way you treat people. It all matters. But yeah, you come into my life at the right time. I needed to change. I needed structure. I knew there was more to come. And just overall happiness as well. Like I didn't feel fulfilled. I was stuck in a rut. And
externally though, was you successful? Like externally, from
well,
where you'd
like,
come from.
Yeah,
like
yeah. I mean, like
everything was going.
Yeah, I mean, I hate. I find it very hard to praise myself. I find it very difficult to like say I'm successful or whatever. Because I don't see myself as successful. I just see myself as trying my best.
Yeah.
Like and whatever people or whatever metric people use to measure success,
it's still different.
Like it's all different for other people, and where I've found fulfillment working with yourself is success to me isn't about I do like everybody likes treating themselves to nice things, like it's a nice feeling being able to buy stuff for your family or go on a nice holiday. Like who doesn't like that?
Of course.
But to me, I measure success different now. I measure success in consistency, like the daily actions, like the being disciplined. Like that's how I measure success. Like winning that daily battle with myself.
Yeah.
Like to show up every day when I don't feel like it, when I'm tired, when you're having a shit day and you feel super negative, you can't see anything right with the world, and you're like, bollocks to this.
And you're still getting up
and
getting it done.
you still get up, you get up, and it's just that to me, that's success. Getting up every day and trying your best, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, like that to me is, successful because you're giving it your all. Like, and
I resonate with that. Mine's the same kind of thing. Success for me is just waking up, living in alignment with what my purpose. I'm trying to be the best version of me, working towards my goals. I'm trying to live in alignment with my values and the life that I'm trying to create. And I know why I'm showing up every single day, regardless of how I feel. It's not necessarily a destination. It's a process of the feeling of success. And you said that these things that make you happy, you went through stages in the past of doing it for 2 months and then you didn't do it for 3 years. Well, it's mad that we go through them stages, right? You're working on yourself, you know what makes you feel great, but then you stop doing it. Why do you feel like that is?
And this is where courage comes into it, because I feel a lot of people can be guilty of falling into the trap of living their life to suit other people. And I've been so guilty of myself. Growing up, when you grow up quite poor and stuff, you don't really have a lot of self-confidence. I wasn't like going to school and like, all the girls were chasing me either. So I was like, right, where do I fit in here? Do you know what I mean? So, so I kind of probably grew up a people pleaser to an extent. I just don't feel like I lived my, I've always been headstrong, but to an extent, whereas I feel just taking that courage to be your authentic self, live your life for you and the people that matter, like your family, your close friends, and the things that really you value in your life. And I think that's, that's important, and that's where I think the
Has that been the shift for you recently? Do you feel like doing it for you? Because one of the biggest things that you said that make you feel proud is like you feel like you're the person that you always wanted to be. Yeah,
and as you get older, like I'm 36 now, and when you become a father, as you know recently, like time becomes so important, and every year that gets by, time it literally does. It's the one commodity in life that no matter how much money you've got, you can't buy time.
Of course.
And when you realise, right, I'm essentially halfway through my life, if I'm lucky, God bless, I need to, I want to start living the next half of my life on my terms, and really showing up every single day, and, being fulfilled. And that's where the fulfillment comes, from from my life now.
What was that from you? Did you feel like there was just something missing? You wasn't holding up your high standards. You was doing what you needed to do. What was that transition stage? You know what, I want to step it up, and I don't feel like I'm the person that's going to help me get out of this situation.
Yeah, well, like, I mean, last year with everything going on, like, I was quite overwhelmed with everything, the business, adapting to life in Dubai. It was tough. I didn't feel like my mental health was like great. I was just a bit, as I said, kind of hit a bit of a dead end. And just working with you, the structure we've implemented, making sure your day's structured, having certain things like meditation's been massive for me. And I think everybody's reluctant to try meditation because especially when you grow up, man. Like, see, when you grow up in like a council estate and stuff, and like fucking meditation.
Yeah, it sounds like the most unfucking cool,
like mad happy, So it's like,
because it sounds like you feel like you've got to sit there with your shoes off, sitting under a tree.
Exactly. Have long hair, or dreadlocks, and
hippie. That's what I used to think.
Exactly. But it's been such a game changer for me in the sense that it calms me, it centers me, it calms my, when I wake up in the morning, like, it's the first thing I do because it calms my crazy brain, and it allows me to kind of focus my thoughts and just kind of get everything right up here and within me before I move forward with my day, and I let the external world in. So, a rule I've got now is I don't touch my phone for the first hour of the day. So I meditate, I read, I have my coffee, I have that time to myself, and there's no one thing that, it's the whole package, where it's the meditation, taking the time to, acknowledge yourself, being more positive with yourself, having the daily structure. I wanted to talk more to you about was the biggest session for me was energy. Like, it blew my mind because I had realised, like, I had been this angry Scotsman my whole life. Like, literally everybody knows me. He's like, there's Lee, he's raging again. He's fucking. Honestly, mate, I was like the epitome of the angry Scotsman. Just like I'm a really nice guy, right? And people who know me, I'm like a really like lovely guy. But I would just go off in like these rants where I'd just be like so fucked off with life, and just like I would spend so much energy like worrying and stressing and getting raging about stupid shit.
Yeah.
And then that energy session was like, Lee, you're spending no wonder you're fucked, mate, and you're so tired, because you're spending so much energy on negative stuff that you can't change, you can't control. And it was like, light bulb. And then since then, it's just been like preserving my energy, making sure I'm around good people who don't serve me and match my, positive intentions now. Like, go. If you're not good for me, go. If you're not bringing value to my life, go. It's been so big, and like,
because I think when people think about energy, they just think maybe how they feel every day. Like, I mean, as in like how your body might feel. But energy, mental, physical, and spiritual is what we're touching on here. Like, if I'm around people, they're physically draining me if they're no good and I'm not in the right company with them. If I'm stressing about things, I'm gonna have less energy. If I'm around people that are lifting me up and positive, I've got fucking loads of energy. Like, when you feel purposeful, when you're being disciplined, structured, that just gives you fucking so much energy, where you just fucking love life. And when you lack energy, life is a fucking struggle.
And you'll notice that, like, if you're going through like a tough time, or whatever, like, you're under a lot of stress, and maybe things at home aren't great, whatever, like, you'll notice like whether it's emotional energy, physical, mental, whatever, like how much it drains you. Like, it's like that battery within you just goes, and if you want to get anywhere in life and be happy and be positive and achieve stuff on a daily basis, like, you need to manage that energy, like that battery within you. Like, it's so key.
And I think that's a big lesson that you learnt as well.
That
was also going 100 miles an hour at everything.
Yeah, but like, there was no like
no rest.
Aye, but there was like no, this is how you're going to get there. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, you know. So just having that, like, here's your goal, and breaking things down, and that really helped as well. Like, being able to say, like, this is the end goal. This is how you get there, and these are the actionable steps, and this is how we're going to chunk it. and you know, it makes things seem more achievable. And
100%. But it's structured, it's organised, and that gives you energy because you know you're working towards something, and you're waking up and you feel like you're achieving. When you're waking up in chaos, you wake up, you're like, right, what am I doing today? I think I'm doing that. I might have to do that. That's how people struggle, I believe, too.
That's how you've become overwhelmed.
You don't end up doing nothing, you procrastinate, you get burnt out, and then you're also like, you feel like you can't look after your health, your family, yourself, because there is no organisation or structure. So you're just at work doing basically nothing, and then you think, I can't go gym because I've got work to do, but you're not even doing the work. And then I can't see my family. Like, you're just like in a fucking frazzled state all of the time, which fucking drains your energy.
And and that for me was the biggest game changer. It really is a massive light bulb moment. And I do, like, to me, my energy, I need to protect that, because for me, like, fulfilling my potential and trying my best, it's, you know, it's not just for me being a father now, it's a huge thing. And I just want to make sure that I'm fulfilling my potential for my son, to be able to give him everything that, you know, as I said, I didn't have growing up, to be able to help him fulfill his dreams and go and, like, absolutely obliterate life. Like, give him an amazing platform. I don't mean make life super easy for him, because at the end of the day, there's that balance, and, you know, he needs to know the value of money. He needs to know that you don't get shit for free in this life. And, you know, and I call it, like, controlled resilience, you know, and that's why people like yourself and are going out running 100 miles, you know, and guys like Cam Haynes and all the ultra runners, and there's loads of other examples. But, like, because when you do shit that you don't want to do, like, it's that resilience. It's like, you know, you're having to put yourself through it, and that builds that resilience. And you know, and for my son, I want to make sure that he is resilient growing up, because you see it, because, you know, they're so soft these days. Like, they get everything.
And I'm so glad you said that, because it was funny. Before I had my daughter, I was like, I want to give her everything that she wants. And I realised, I'm like, but I also want, not yes, her, but, like, if I had a son, like, we always thought, I'm just gonna, like, spoil these. Like, I didn't have a terrible upbringing, you know, but I didn't get spoiled. And I'm like, I want to give him this, and then I'm like, but I also want him to go through some shit without it sounding bad, because that's maybe not to the levels that I had to, but just like, if you do just give, that's where the spoiltness comes in. They're not going to be able to learn, especially a man, I feel like, what's going to make him happy. Fucking putting himself through some hardship, some struggle, getting disciplined, feeling like he can't accomplish that, and then breaking through on that other side. I think it's quite a hard balance, because you don't want him to go through all the stuff that you went through.
Exactly.
But you do, right? And you're doing everything that you are doing because you want to set them up for such a great fucking life. But then also you don't want to spoil them.
No, and it's finding that balance. Obviously, my wee guy is, like, super young yet, so you know, I'm still yet to kind of go through all that with him. But yeah, it's just finding that, like, where his values align. You know, you can pass your values and your morals and everything, and all your experience and what you've learned through all your hardships onto your children, without necessarily them going through the same suffering and hardships that you went through. Because you know, I wouldn't want my son to go through what I went through growing up. You know, like, fuck that. Like, so yeah, I mean, that's obviously something I need to look forward to.
And I think the great thing, what you've done and what you're trying to do, and the same thing I actually said on a previous podcast, is like, I want my daughter to be able to do what she, like, that belief that your nan give you, for example. I want to instill that belief in her. It's like, whatever you want to do is now possible. Oh, you want to go university? That's possible. You want to do that? That's possible. Because you've laid the foundations for them to believe that this is possible for them.
And that's like, you know, on my purpose statement, like, I think, like, the first line that, you know, is basically do everything I can, and literally it finishes like, I want to be my son's first hero. Like, that to me is just like why I want to be the best me, like, because I want my son to grow up and be like, fuck, man, I was badass, man. Like, you know, like, he done this, he done that, you know, he lived life, he looked after it, he was always there for me whenever I needed him, you know, and really look up to me and be like, you know, I love you, Dad, you know. And that to me is like, that's my why. Like, that's the, you know, as much as it kind of combines, because at the end of I was thinking about this yesterday. I was like, people make sacrifices for their children, but sometimes you can sacrifice yourself too much, because I feel like if you sacrifice yourself and you're like performing at your best, you know, then your kid's only going to suffer because you're not at your best.
Yeah.
So it's about, again, finding that balance where you're being your best on a daily basis so that you can then show up and be the best version of a father to your daughter, to your son. And you know, and that's why, in my opinion, it, you know, everybody's different, like, but, and I'm not one to preach to anybody, but, you know, if you're a parent, you should be, you know, you should be setting like an example.
Standards. Yeah. And the other side of things, which I'm glad I've learned, especially my daughter's only a year and a half, nearly. This last 6 months is like, in my mind, it's like I'm doing I want to be the best version of me to give her the best version of me. But I'm also relentlessly on this business, on this, to give her the best possible life. But then what I was doing a little bit was like missing on what's going now. You know what I mean? So like, not going to pick her up from nursery on a Friday evening, or spending some time in the evening, because I'm like, I've got work to do, because I'm going to build you an exceptional life. But when does that stop? I said to myself, like, you're missing all of these moments now because one day you want to give her the life that she wants. Why not try and create the life that you want to live now and give her the life that you want? So I wanted to go pick her up from nursery. I wanted to do that, but my mum was like, no, should be working, should be doing that. So it's like finding a fine line between relentlessly going in for her future, but also being part of her present.
And that's
which is a hard balance.
Oh, it's super, because you get that element of guilt, you know, if you don't work, you know, and you're like, oh,
if I'm with her, I'm guilty, I'm not working. If I'm working, I'm guilty, I'm not with her. So in your mind, you got to find a balance that you feel works.
But that's when, like, I think we touched on it during one of our calls, was just taking that time for my son. So like that one morning a week, for example, that I'm spending time with my son. Like, I take him to the park in the morning, we go on a nice big walk, you know, or I take him to the pool, you know, and just being consistent, because that is super important. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to be, you know, the father, in my opinion, who is successful and can provide everything, but you're not present.
Just not there.
You're not there. You know, what's the point in that? Because you know, I'm a great believer in not constantly. I'm not trying to be morbid here, but like thinking about death.
It
but
could
like,
be over tomorrow.
It could be over tomorrow. You know, and I think like it's a good thing to think about death, because it's like it's that daily kick up the arse. It was like, shit, you could be gone tomorrow. Like, you could. So that's why every day you should wake up and try your best. Every day you should cherish the little moments. Every day you should, you know, enjoy. You know, if your son's not even in the best mood, just give him a cuddle, man. Like, enjoy the little things, like, because one day everything could be gone. And you know, another big part of the working with the bee community as well is just how everybody's into their health and fitness, you know, and how it's pushed, and it's your well-being's pushed, because your health is your wealth. You know, you could be a billionaire, have all the money in the world, but if you've got a terminal illness, nothing you can do about that, mate. You're going to be likely, you know, end soon. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, so to me, it's finding that balance, and it's I think it's just having everything working together, you know, looking after yourself, being fit, being healthy, and that helps you kind of.
How do you feel like you manage that now?
I got up earlier, and the thing is, I don't like, you know, I've had a couple of drinks since we started working, and it's literally been like one or two, and that's it. But like, I literally went like 3 months without touching any alcohol at all, and I love it, like, because I just feel every weekend I'm getting shit done. You know, I'm not lying in bed ill. You know, and I was getting to the point where if I drank, I'd be ill for like days, and you know, when I drank. So it's just like, I can't be arsed with that anymore. I'd rather wake up. And I think the best example I had was I went to a boat party on a Saturday, didn't drink, and then on the Sunday I woke up 5 a.m, get down Kite Beach and run a half marathon, and then the rest of the day spent the whole day with my son, taking him to the safari park. Like that, like, that's fucking living your life.
Yeah.
Like, not going getting absolutely smashed, waking up the next day dying, spending shit tons of money, can't remember half of what you done because you were so steaming, and then just wasting your life away, and then you Monday comes and you still feel like shit. You can't focus. You don't, you're in a bad mood still because you're tired and you're being ratty with your kids, and yeah, like fuck that, man. That's not like the type of dad I want to be. And and I've got like a shout out to my mate AC. He's been like, he doesn't drink anymore. He's sober for like a good 5-6, maybe in fact longer actually, nearly a decade. And I always used to think, why the fuck is he not drinking anymore? I was that guy. I was like, it's fucking weird, man. Like, but he's just like,
is that quite a crazy thing being Scottish and people?
Mate, like,
like,
you literally, people think, what's wrong with you, man? Yeah. Like, and I think that was a big.
And the old school generation would look at you and think, "What the fuck are you up
you're
to?
right, mate.
You don't drink."
Yeah, it's like, so it's I bet there seems to be a nice trend of like more and more people are realizing that you can live life and be, have fun and socialize and not get steaming and wake up and piss your life away, and that's when we touch on about like just life, and it's short, why do you want to spend half your life recovering for a fucking hangover, but like my mate AC, getting back to him, he's he's a great dad, shows up every day, doesn't drink, and I and it's only now that being in that kind of similar situation myself where I don't drink, I'm like, that's how he gets so much done, and he's so present, he's a great dad and stuff, and and it's I just, for me, it's probably one of the best things I've done is finally taking that step. And it took a bit of courage because, when you're growing up and when you a lot of your friend circles and stuff, everybody, the whole purpose of you getting together is for a bevy, and that's why it was good for me to move out here as well, because I could kind of, and I'm not saying like all my mates that drink, I don't ever talk to you again, right? It's not that, it's just like coming to Dubai, there's more. You're in an environment where there's run clubs, you get people getting up on a Sunday morning, you go to Kite Beach at like 5 a.m. on a Sunday and you've got hundreds of people getting up and getting after it, and it's like, it's so inspiring, it's so motivating. It also gives you the reassurance that, like, do you know what, there's loads of people out here who are in the same boat as you. And it was kind of like that fresh start for me where I was like, right, bar obviously the 6 months last year where I was like, but then it's kind of led to the point where I was like, you're now in the situation where you've got everything you need to
be the person that you want to be.
Be the person.
And I don't think not drinking is for everyone. It's such a hard thing to stop and move away from, because so many people do it. It's so natural to do it, and some people couldn't never see life without it. I mean, I was exactly the same, and I say to some people, look, if it's getting in the way of your life, if you're not showing up as your best dad, your business is not going the way it wants to go, your relationships are going to shit, you're not looking after yourself, and it seems to be that is the one catalyst that keeps fucking everything up. It's a good time to at least take a break if you don't want to stop it completely, and I think some people are really scared to do that.
Because it's so ingrained in the fibre of life.
And they can't see any life without it. I was exactly the same, mate, and that's why I stayed trapped. And I do still think if people have a great time with it, keep it in your life. I just feel like if it's having a detriment to, because we've all deep down, I feel like we just want to be something special. All of us, we want to be more. And it's not just stopping that's going to allow everything else to happen. No. But it does tend to be one of the things that gets in the way of a lot of people achieving a lot of what they want to achieve. Yeah, no,
and for me, it was huge. And I believe there's like I've basically read that there's like a 10% of people that just shouldn't drink.
Yeah, I'm one of them.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, just because they take it too far, they don't have that self-control or discipline in their life to just say 2 drinks and then you're up the road. It's like,
2 drinks,
2 drinks and that's it, you're gone.
Yeah.
And I believe I was in that 10%, and I've just like, do you know what? I realise if I do not stop drinking, and I don't mean like completely sober, because look, at the end of the day, I still enjoy like the odd glass of red wine, but that's only because I took 3 months off, and I instilled the discipline that, and that's been a massive thing with you as well. Is the discipline. I'm the most disciplined I've ever been in my life, and that's one of the major reasons why I feel like I'm progressing now, you know. So
and I think that even helped, like what you said, is like you took time away from it.
yeah,
You got yourself in check. You got yourself in order. You got your life up to a place. You got yourself where you're proud. And it's like you almost don't want to go back to going off of the rails. So you used to go enjoy a drink or do whatever, but you don't want to go back to them places that you used to go. And you probably mindset and attitude has shifted so much where you enjoy your life and you enjoy all what you're doing. So you don't want to fucking go completely the other way, you know. You've got your own business. You've got your family. You're looking after yourself. Fucking you're training for 100 kilometers. So like you're doing all of these things. What are a few things that enable you to stay on top of all of these areas? Habits, things you put in place, because this is one of the biggest areas I believe people struggle. Jack, I'm running a business. I ain't got time to go to the gym. I'm running a business. I'm neglecting my family. I'm neglecting myself. Like, what do you feel like enables you to stay on top of all this?
Oh man, it's like simple things like getting to your bed earlier and getting up earlier. Like if I didn't get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, I wouldn't be able to like get up and train and have that first hour of the day to myself to get my mind right. So getting up early and like don't sit up to like 11 o'clock at night every night. People even I was one of the people you'd sit down to watch Netflix at night, spend an hour fucking scrolling, man. Like, and then you don't actually end up watching anything substantial. So it's like just cutting out shit that doesn't add value to your life, or you know, take that extra half hour in the morning, fucking read a book, man. Like, because you're getting something from it. You know, it's enjoyable, but I never used to read, and it was only the back end of last year that I started reading every day, and I'm getting value for it. I feel like when I read, I've won something. It's like a mini win for the day. So it's just making like sacrifices where you're, and one of the things that I believe in is swapping out pleasure for purpose and purpose over pleasure, and doing things that are, giving you a purpose in your life and creating a purpose and helping you achieve your purpose, rather than, because I think everybody goes through life where they chase pleasure, one way or another, whether it's drugs, whatever, alcohol, we all know what people do to chase pleasure.
I love what you said though, swapping pleasure for purpose, because I believe lack of purpose leads to short-term pleasures.
Exactly.
That's one of the things. I love that saying though, swap pleasure for purpose.
Yeah, just get up, have that structure there every day, and one of the best things I've done now working with yourself is making sure that before I go to bed and that night, I know exactly how my day is going tomorrow. Obviously you can't actually, shit happens and stuff, but just having that basic structure there, having the 2 or 3 things that you that day you want to achieve, and the feeling you get when you've had a busy ass day, you've done everything that you wanted to achieve, and you go to bed at night and you're fucked. You're like, oh my god, I'm so tired. It's the best feeling in the world, man. And you get addicted to that feeling.
Yeah, of course.
Like, and that's when you just be like, start building momentum. And that's the, and I'm like, things happen in people's lives. We can't predict the future, life throws you curveballs, but it's just managing that. And, if you've got the basic tools there and the basic structure, and, you get up and you've got your purpose and your reason why, and you feel, and you just say, be to yourself, like, I'm gonna get this done, like, come hell or high water, it's just that discipline. And I think discipline is, to me, been, I touched on it earlier, that it's been a massive game changer.
Do you feel like putting the things in place? I know you've got to be disciplined to planning your day, like that requires discipline, but do you believe by putting in a plan has made you more disciplined because you know what you're sticking to? Like, I call that giving discipline a helping hand. Like, I can be undisciplined if I haven't got structure. Like, I can be super disciplined. Example, today was a perfect example of that. I had a 2-hour run to do. I only realised that it was 2 hours in the morning, so I was like, fuck, I've got to do an hour, and when I get back I've got to do an hour. If I didn't have the plan in place today, it wasn't blocked in, and I didn't know it was 2 hours because I'm following a specific plan, I wouldn't have done the other hour, because there would have been no need to. But because I've got things in place, it enables me to stick to the fucking plan. Hold me accountable to be more disciplined.
So I mean, it's everything really. There's so many kind of ingredients, but structure and discipline, they kind of go hand in hand. And Yeah, because sometimes, you know, obviously when you've got a bit of a scatty brain, it's so easy for
I was
me.
going to say, does that help? Does it help having
Like massive. You know, it's still working. You know, we're still trying to be better. It's quite a new thing for me. You know, I was on medication for a few months there, and it kind of helped initially, but then I just felt like I wasn't feeling great on. You know, I was like, and then when I started implementing the structure, the discipline, when I was starting to feel impulsive, I was like, I could understand it. So I was like, right, the discipline was there to like override it.
So meditation helped.
Yes, it calms my brain. It kind of primes me for the day. You know, and I can take that step back now before
Angry Lee comes out.
Yeah. or just like before, like my brain goes off. It's like, cause it's like when you meditation, it's like they say it's like a muscle you need to train, innit? Like your brain. So the misconception is when you meditate, like you shouldn't. You know, it's bad if your brain goes wandering, but that's part of the process. It's allowing, like, noticing when your brain goes wandering and then bringing it back.
Yes.
And it just means I know that if I keep consistent and disciplined with that in, you know, a couple of years' time, for example, you know, if I'm sitting and I'm meant to be working and I'm procrastinating and I'm sitting thinking about fucking pizza on Saturday night I'm going to have and it's Monday morning, you know, I can bring it back quicker and quicker and
that's the good thing about meditating. And I say it to everyone. I said, like, if you meditate every single day, it's not about not thinking. It's just about being observant of your thoughts, right? And always bringing it back to breath or mantra or something like that. Don't judge your thoughts. Don't interact with them. Don't engage them. Just look at them like clouds in the sky or like you're watching birds. Yeah, just let them go. But the more you do that, you sit down with yourself in silence, whether it's 20 minutes a day, consistently, you'll start to it's almost meditation through the day with your eyes open. Like I've done meditation so much, I'm observant of my thoughts now, rather than a thought pop into my mind and I go on a fucking tangent thinking about something bollocks or not doing what I'm meant to be doing. Or if I'm sitting there, for example, and I'm bored and I'm like, right, I should do this, but then something in my mind says, no, if I can look at your phone and sit and scroll, it's like I can be aware of that thought that comes in, don't give it no attention and do what I'm meant to do. That's how meditation's helped me. You know, actually just understanding the way that my mind works and being an observer of it rather than it taking control of me every single day. And I think the good thing that you've done, and I'm glad that you touched on it, is like, you know, you had ADHD, you've been on you've got ADHD, you've been on medication, you've come off medication, but by putting all of these practices in place, it helps you. It helps it, you know what I mean? Because I think the first thing is to do, even when I spoke to the doctors, he was like, yeah, I can't diagnose you, but you're gonna have to take medication now. You need to take it out. And I said, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm glad that you've helped me with that. I'd like to do some therapy first. But what has helped me is I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I'm fucking meditating every day, I exercise, I plan my days, I do all of these other things, and by doing so, I'm fucking well able to cope with my mind and how it works. Whereas in the past, when I was doing everything off that, it was a fucking shit show. A fucking shit show. And I think that's probably why the drinking drugs thing, it can take your mind into fucking dark negative places when maybe you have something like ADHD or OCD or something like that.
Like you start overthinking, you start like literally, you know,
and the negative come downs, were they bad for you?
Yeah, like so after drink I was just like,
some people don't get it, right?
So I don't get it.
Yeah,
How
but
do
does
you
it make sense? Like, I would
like,
do something, even if it wasn't a heavy one, like, I'll be, like, so depressed and down and, like, negative and, like, doubting myself, low confidence, beating myself up. And, like, people would say, like, mate, like, the night wasn't that bad. Or, like, get over it. It's not that bad. And I'm like, I don't think you get what my mind is doing to me right now, how I feel. And I believe that's because of, like, you know, mentally.
Yeah, and that's one of the big things why I couldn't do like big sessions anymore, because I was like, for days, man, I was like thinking my world was ending. Like I couldn't shake it. Take like 3-4 days before I kind of started feeling
a bit normal,
and you're just like, why am I doing
to do again?
But you're essentially like, why am I doing this, man? Like, and it's for years, you know, and it was for years and years and years that I thought about like chucking it, and I just kept going, and you know, and as I said, it was just no, I think when you becoming a dad, I was just like, the most important thing for me is just showing up for him every day and being the best I can be for him, and me getting out and getting smashed and being Debbie Downer for like 3 or 4 days after it. I mean, I'm not. That's me not showing up for my son. You know,
Has that been your main purpose? That's helped you not wanting to improve? I know, but like not wanting to drink in that. Is that one of the reasons why? Because of your son?
Yeah, like my son and just everything, man. Like it impacted me, like my health and fitness. Like I've always been into health and fitness, and you know, last year I was in the worst shape I'd been in a long time. So like I've lost since the start of the year like 7-8 kg.
Nice.
I'm 10 kg down for like my heaviest last year. I'm running an ultra marathon in 2 weeks' time. You know, like for charity, man. It's just I wouldn't be doing any of that if I was drinking. You know, I would miss moments with my son if I was drinking, and yeah, and it's just I feel like I show up more for work. I'm not getting into work on a Monday and my head's up my arse. Like I spend that time on a Sunday to get prepped for my week, and when it comes to Monday, I'm go. And you know, for last year with the business in Dubai, you know, we were pretty much came to the, you know, we'd done a couple of bits. You know, from January I was at a fucking standing start in Dubai, you know, and then I was like stressing obviously, but I just knew, right, like if I can implement these positive steps, if I can do everything that I'm talking about with Jack, if I can believe in myself and you know, put the structure in and try my best and show up every day, things will turn around. And you know, from February we've billed every month, February, March, April, May. The last 3 months it's been record fees, you know, each month. You know, we've just done I've just done my biggest fee as a recruiter.
Nice.
Literally last week. You know, still managing the UK like side of things as well as trying to grow here. I wouldn't have been in this situation, like, because I was fucking
and running for an ultra marathon, 100
and like
and
that's
being
it
the best dad
for charity, and it's for a
Yeah.
charity that's like super close to my heart.
Yeah.
Like, and this is shit that I didn't think I'd be able to do for like another 10 years because
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'm not gonna ever have time for stuff like
Yeah,
that.
for sure.
But it's like you make the effort, and I think that's where people need to be honest with themselves. It's like prioritize what matters to you as a human being, and like really matters, and make that a priority. Because if something is a priority in your life, you fucking make time for it. It's as simple as that. My priority is obviously my son, being the best dad I can be, and literally, you know, being the best human I can be and fulfilling my potential, because you know, that's important. And yeah, it makes me.
I think and that's the same thing. That's why I align with values. That's the same thing. What's important, values. What do I value? If I put my time in what I value and fuck everything else off, I'm a happy man.
Yeah, exactly. And it's those priorities. So just decide what matters to you and
put your time there.
Put your time there.
Mate, listen, Nate, I just want to say thank you for being very honest, open, vulnerable, and sharing your story. It's great. I always ask my guests one final question. What does becoming the best you mean to you?
I think I touched on it earlier. Time is a commodity that nobody can buy back, and I just feel that, like, being the best you every day and being consistent allows you to basically, you know, when I don't want to be morbid again, but like that to me the worst thing is when I'm lying in my fucking deathbed or whatever as an old man, hopefully, that I know that I gave it my all.
Yeah.
Like I fucking tried. Like I just gave life my best shot, because it's the old cliche, we're here once, man, and it's just be a good human. Wake up every day, try your fucking best, and then when you die, you can be at peace with it because you fucking gave it your all. Like, and I mean, be honest with yourself. Are you really trying your best to be, you know, contribute to the world, to contribute to, you know, life, and that to me has just been, you know, that's what it means to me.
Love that, man.
So,
thank you for sharing, brother.
Yeah, no worries, man.
Great
Thank
stuff.
you very much, man.
Loved it, man.